Hello, and welcome back to the U-Lab. My name is Javier, and this is the U-Lab. So I came across this video when I was scrolling on Instagram one day.
Did you know if you tape a few onion slices to the bottom of your feet 1 hour before going to sleep and leave them there all night, it helps draw out toxins, reduce inflammation, and support your immune system naturally?
And this post sparked the idea behind today's video. I think it'd be fun to go and look at some ancient medical techniques and how ancient cultures, practice medicine, just to see how different things are. And to see how, maybe stupid people of the past used to be. And so to start off today's video, I found this history.com article called 7 Unusual Ancient Medical Techniques. So without any further ado, let's just get right into it. Number 1, bloodletting. Now I have a feeling that this bloodletting is the number 1 because it's probably the most well-known ancient medical practice. Honestly, it's not even that ancient, I believe. I'm pretty sure they were doing bloodletting like a couple hundred years ago. Let's actually just check that right now. When did they stop bloodletting? Yeah, so according to the Wikipedia article, it says that they stopped in about the 19th century, which was like 200 years ago? Oh my god. It says here that leeches became especially popular in the 19th century. In the 1830s, the French imported about 40 million leeches a year for medical purposes. And in the next decade, England imported 6 million leeches a year from France alone. Okay, I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's actually just go back to the article. It says here that for thousands of years, medical practitioners clung to the belief that sickness was merely the result of a little bad blood. Bloodletting probably began with the ancient Sumerians and Egyptians, but it didn't become common practice until the time of classical Greece and Rome. It says that patients with a fever or other ailment were often diagnosed with an overabundance of blood. And honestly, for their thinking, if they truly did believe that someone had too much blood in their system, hey, it kind of makes sense to just want to get it out. It says that their doctor would simply cut open a vein and drain some of their vital fluids into a receptacle. In some cases, leeches were even used to suck the blood directly from the skin. The final point on bloodletting that we'll look at is just the next sentence. It literally says, while it could easily result in accidental death from blood loss. I wonder how many reported cases there are of death from blood loss after bloodletting. Let's take a look for that right now. The AI overview says, it is impossible to determine the exact number of deaths caused by bloodletting over its 3,000-year history, but it is likely numbered in the millions, as it was standard treatment for centuries. It's so interesting to me how nowadays, we can look at something like bloodletting and say that is not a good idea. But back in the day, that was genuinely what they thought was one of the best ideas. It's just so interesting to see how our human evolution is not only in, of course, our body and stuff like that, but also in the social aspect of it and as people, our evolution. It's pretty interesting. The next up, we have trepanation. I don't think I've ever heard of this, so this is actually going to be pretty interesting. Humanity's oldest form of surgery is also one of its most gruesome. As far back as 7,000 years ago, civilizations around the world engaged in trepanation, the practice of boring holes in the skull as a means of curing illnesses. Researchers can only speculate on how or why this grisly form of brain surgery first developed. A common theory holds that it may have been some form of tribal ritual or even a method of releasing evil spirits believed to possess the sick and mentally ill. You see, it's kind of hard to pass judgment on these people of the past because truthfully, they really didn't know any better. It's easy for us now with easy access to the internet to see and learn that some things are just bad ideas and that we shouldn't do it. And even then, there's tons of people who know it's a bad idea and still will end up doing something stupid like the Tide Pod challenge from a couple years ago. So maybe us humans are honestly not that much different from these guys. We all are and have always been stupid as hell. Let's go ahead and look at one of these skulls that they did this trepanation to. So I look up trepanation skull. Oh my god, dude. Dude, this is insane. I wonder how they did it. So I just looked up what did they use for trepanation, and it says that early methods involved obsidian flint and hardened stone knives or scrapers, which later evolved into metal tools like bronze knives, iron drills, and specialized circular saws for trephines. Were these people awake when they did this to them? Let's actually look that up. Dude, yeah. So according to the AI, it says that people were typically left awake and conscious during trepanation throughout most of history. That is honestly crazy to think about. No doubt they probably did use some like herbal substances, maybe some type of plant that made it easier, you know, if you know what I mean. And it says here that they did this for like seizures and mental illnesses, but did these people who had these done to them, did they see any change? Like, did these actually work? I don't really know, but it's pretty interesting. That's an actual real interesting ancient medicine technique. And for number 3, we have mercury, which mercury is even now, I believe, still a problem. It says here that the ancient Persians and Greeks considered it a useful ointment, and 2nd century Chinese alchemists prized liquid mercury or quicksilver and red mercury sulfide for their supposed ability to increase lifespan and vitality. Interesting. It says that some healers even promised that by consuming noxious brews containing poisonous mercury, sulfur, and arsenic, their patients would gain eternal life and the ability to walk on water. Oh my god, bro. They actually thought that taking this mercury would turn them into Jesus Christ. Oh my god. From the Renaissance until the early 20th century, so that's only like within the past 100 years or so, mercury was also used as a popular medicine for STDs like syphilis. While some accounts claim the heavy metal treatment was successful in fighting off the infection, patients often died from liver and kidney damage caused by mercury poisoning. Now, I must apologize for any amount of laughing that I do. To me, I can't help but laugh just because of now with our new knowledge. Obviously, what do they say? Hindsight is 2020. It's just a little funny to see how ridiculous some of these, treatments were, because even then people were dying and they just continued to use it, like, oh my god. So I just saw a glimpse of I don't know if it was in frame this whole time, but I just saw a glimpse of the next point number 4. And this is just disgusting, man. Animal dung ointments. It says that lizard blood, dead mice, mud, and moldy bread were all used as topical ointments and dressings, and women were sometimes dosed with horse saliva as a cure for an impaired libido. Oh my god, dude. What were they doing to our women back then, bro? Most disgusting of all, Egyptian physicians used human and animal excrement as a cure-all remedy for diseases and injuries. Now it says here that according to the 1500 BC's Ebers Papyrus, donkey, dog, gazelle, and fly dung were all celebrated for their healing properties and their ability to ward off bad spirits. Now, whenever it does come to these old traditions in regards to like warding off bad spirits, I mean, it probably, to them, it seemed like it worked, right? Because if there was never any bad spirits in the first place, whether you put the dung there or not, the bad spirits weren't gonna come. And since they probably continued to put the dung there, it's almost like a cycle here. They put the dung there, no spirits come. And so they believed that the dung actually worked to ward off the spirits, and so they continued to put the dung, despite the fact that there may not have even been any spirits in the first place. While these repugnant remedies may have occasionally led to tetanus and other infections, they probably weren't entirely ineffective. Research shows that microflora found in some types of animal dung contain antibiotic substances. That is really cool to know. So when it comes to the healing properties, there may actually have been some evidence of it. Hey, they were onto something, guys. We should take notes. Next up, we have cannibal cures. Suffering from persistent headaches, muscle cramps, or stomach ulcers? Once upon a time, your local physician may have prescribed an elixir containing human flesh, blood, or bone. So-called corpse medicine was a disturbingly common practice for hundreds of years. The Romans believed that the blood of fallen gladiators could cure epilepsy. That is kind of hard. That's kind of tough, man. I can get behind that one. King Charles II was known for enjoying a draught of King's Drops, a restorative brew made from crumbled human skull and alcohol. These cannibalistic medicines were thought to have magical properties. By consuming the remains of a deceased person, the patient also ingested part of their spirit, leading to increased vitality and well-being. Now, I have two older sisters who, despite living with me, for the majority of my first half of my life, they actually were not a part of the same cult that I was a part of. And I remember walking into the room where my sister was watching TV, and she was watching this like TV show about a zombie who can eat a dead person's brains and then see how they died. And that's kind of what they were doing back here, being able to ingest part of their spirit. They probably genuinely thought that they were doing a good thing. Maybe they also believed back then that by ingesting part of the spirit, as it says, maybe they thought that they were keeping that person with them forever. It says that the type of cure prescribed usually corresponded to the type of ailment. Consuming a person's skull was used for migraines and human fat for muscle aches. But getting fresh stock could be a gruesome process. Oh my God. We're gonna stop there. That's honestly really gross. Next up, we have wandering womb. Ancient Greek doctors believed that a woman's womb was a separate creature with its own mind. According to the writings of Plato and Hippocrates, when a woman was celibate for an extended time, her uterus, described as a living animal eager to bear children, could dislodge and glide freely about her body, causing suffocation, seizures, and hysteria. This curious diagnosis endured in some form into the time of the Romans and Byzantines. I don't know how to say that word. Well, after doctors had learned that the womb was held in place by ligaments. To prevent their wombs from going on walkabouts, ancient women were counseled to marry young and bear as many children as possible. So when I was reading the first paragraph, I kind of did get the thought that this was just a way to control women, to force them to, bear as many children as possible. This definitely seems like something that was made by men this is just disgusting, bro. And the final one for here, 7. Babylonian skull cure. For the ancient Babylonians, most illnesses were thought to be the result of demonic forces or punishment by the gods for past misdeeds. Doctors often had more in common with priests and exorcists than modern physicians, and their cures usually involved some component of magic. This to me is really interesting. Even though I wasn't supposed to, I've always had some interest in magic, and not even because I believe that it's real. It's honestly because I am a skeptic of it. But I just love to think about the idea of how these people are doing these magic tricks. Like, how do they actually do them? It's so cool to me. It says here that if a patient ground their teeth, the healer might suspect that the ghost of a deceased family member was trying to contact them as they slept. For some reason, reading that sentence reminded me of this tweet. Such a banger tweet, bro. So back in the day, if you used to grind in your sleep, it says that the doctor would recommend sleeping by a human skull for a week as a way of exorcising the spirits. To ensure this disturbing treatment worked, the tooth grinder was also instructed to kiss and lick the skull 7 times each night. What the fuck, bro? Oh my God. There's no reason for that. Like the reasoning of having the skull next to you while you sleep, sure, that can make sense. Why do you need to kiss and lick? Oh my God, dude, this was so much fun to go over, bro. I had so much fun. And that'll probably be it for today. That was such a great, oh my God, I had so much fun with that. That was genuinely amazing. I will most likely be making a second video, like a second part of this video later on down the line, because I do actually have an idea of trying some of these ancient techniques. Not any of the gross ones, and not anything that involves cutting a hole in my skull, but one's more like the one from the intro, that Instagram video that I showed you, because I think it'd be fun to just test them and see, if I can feel any different afterwards. Anyways, here's the song of the day. It's another Frank Sinatra song. God, I love Frank Sinatra, bro. But yeah, that's gonna be it. If anyone watched this video, thank you again. Regardless though, I enjoy making videos, and yeah, future Javier, hey, we're doing great right now. As always, just remember, never stop learning. I'll see you later.